Good afternoon, I'm Andy Hooser. Well, after an 11-day pause due to an investigation of blood clots, the CDC has approved it resuming, giving the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccination, and the Sedgwick County Health Department says they'll resume as well.
Now, we know that there are still people interested in Johnson & Johnson. We have heard that. When are you going to bring it back? So we will get more vaccinated.
That was Health Director Adrian Byrne on Cake News. Right now, the county does not have a set date for when the county will be offering the Johnson & Johnson vaccine again, but they say they will have a warning label on it saying that it could cause potential blood clots. In other news, nurses from Ascension Via Christi Hospital in Wichita have signed up to make the trip to Michigan to help out with COVID-19 infections, as the state is seeing a recorded 91,000 new cases over the last 2 weeks.
The nurses that are there are really worn out. They're taxed to the limit, and they are just really appreciative of everything that we can do for them and just a little bit of help that we can give.
That audio from KSN News. The 12 different nurses flew out of Eisenhower National Airport yesterday morning. Now let's go to sports.
Newly acquired Chiefs offensive lineman Orlando Brown arrived at the Chiefs facility in Kansas City today. He was acquired on Friday by the Chiefs, giving up pick number 31 in Thursday night's NFL draft, among some other picks. Brown factors into an offensive line that has been completely revamped from last season. And big basketball news over the weekend. Baylor women's coach Kim Mulkey is leaving the Bears for the head coaching job at LSU. She won 3 national titles in 21 seasons at Baylor. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Mason Voth.
Hi, this is Steve Anthemides with Athena Jewelry. My dad opened the doors of our family jewelry business almost 50 years ago, and today we are the longest standing independent jewelry store in Wichita. People tell us we treat them like family, and in addition to a massive inventory, we take a lot of pride in creating unique, one-of-a-kind pieces, as well as same-day sizing and repair in most cases. So take this as my personal invitation to come see us, Athena Jewelry, 219 East Douglas in Wichita.
You know this story. It's about a town with growing potential and hometown pride, and people wanting to better themselves for their family, their future, and their community. Sound familiar? It should. It's your story. And at WTI, we've seen this story time and time again. It's why we focus on giving you the best possible training to create career opportunities in the healthcare and technical fields. Start training for your new career today. Visit WTI.edu or visit one of our 2 Wichita campuses today. WTI, connecting community to careers.
Farmers Co-op Elevators of Garden Plain, Cheney, Norwich, Belmont, Clonmel, Pretty Prairie, and Kingman, as diversified as agriculture itself. Take this opportunity to say thank you to producers. Farmers Co-op Elevator Company realizes the importance of agriculture in this great country, not just as a customer base, but as the main spoke in the wheel that feeds us, the U.S., and a big portion of the world we live in. Farmers Co-op Elevator, appreciating its hand-to-hand association with area producers.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. It was a big day in the futures markets for corn, soybeans, and wheat. We saw a big day in the cash grains for corn, milo, soybeans, and wheat. Let's take a look. We'll start at Concordia, Kansas, where the wheat finished at $6.96. The corn $6.50, milo $6.43, soybeans $15.12. At Goodland, the wheat $6.67, the corn $6.92, the milo $6.76, and the soybeans $15.09. Sumner County, Kansas, the wheat $6.77, the corn $6.81, the milo $6.61, the beans $15.34. Garden City, $6.84 on the wheat, $7.21 on the corn, $7.11 on the milo, and $14.94 on soybeans. At Fredonia, $7.06 on the wheat, $7.04 on the corn, $7.05 on milo, and $15.36 on soybeans. And at Belleville, our final stop, the wheat $6.86, the corn $6.40, milo $6.33, soybeans $15.02. We'll get to Oklahoma now, starting in Panhandle Hooker. The wheat $6.81, the corn $7.33, milo $7, soybeans $15.04. At Ponca City, the wheat $6.79, the corn $6.72, the milo $7.21, the beans $15.39. And at Enid, the wheat finished up at $6.97, corn $7.90, make that $6.76. Milo $7.56, and soybeans $15.34. Averages look like this. Everything is way up. $6.85 across Oklahoma and Kansas. The average on wheat, that's up 29. Corn finished with an average also of $6.85. That's up 25. Milo, $6.89. The average across the 2 states on Milo, that's up 25. And soybeans had a big day, $15.18. The average between Kansas and Oklahoma on soybeans, that's up 30. So wheat up 29, corn and milo both up 25, soybeans up 30 on Monday. Kansas and Oklahoma closing cash grain bids, Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Derby Mattress. No dancing animals, no gimmicks. Your locally owned hometown mattress store at 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
Mostly cloudy, windy, and warmer this afternoon in Wichita. We'll see a daytime high near 84 degrees. South wind gusting over 40 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, the clouds break a bit. Lows drop to 62. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy, a high near 80. A chance for showers and storms, especially late in the day, some of which could be strong, maybe severe. With your forecast, I'm Cake meteorologist Frank Waugh.
That's your latest Cake First Alert weather update on the Big Talker, KQAM.
At 4:06, it's currently 80 degrees.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Another day, another brand new kickoff to a whole nother week. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hooser. It is a Monday, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station all over the country. Radio and TV, plus the live streaming and podcasting thereafter as well. It is wonderful to have you join us today and hang out. Our little club, our little private club that's so public that anybody can listen to us on radio and TV or our live streaming or our podcasting all over the country. We got some fun stuff to talk about today. We may, and I mention may, have Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio, come on the program today and chat with us. On Sunday, yesterday was his 12-year anniversary of having his radio program that is nationally syndicated, so we may have him on the program to talk about that. Plus, there is an interesting piece going to the U.S. Supreme Court to hear a major gun rights appeal over carrying concealed handguns in public. Do you have the right to carry concealed handguns in public to defend yourself? Kind of an open and closed case, but we'll have the Supreme Court make a decision on it because apparently it's that complicated for us to figure out in society. So, if he's able to join, we'll have him on and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But we have a lot to get to today. I want to have some fun because it's a brand new kickoff to a brand new week, which always energizes me. I am sore today. I have to admit, I am extremely sore. I barely could move today. I spent a large part of the weekend, as you knew, I mentioned it last week, that I finished drywalling part of the studio for the Hooser Media Network. And I finished the drywall, hanging the drywall. Now I'm into the mudding and the taping part of it. And yeah, I did that all weekend, and I got almost all of the first coat done. Now, I heard that you're supposed to do 3 coats. I say, with that, I'm going to do like 1.5 because I put it on pretty heavy and thick at the beginning. But why do you need to do 3 coats? Someone explain to me why you need to go over your work 3 times. If you have to go over your work 3 different times, then you probably didn't do it right the first time, right? So I'm doing it right the first time, putting on a kind of heavy coat the first round. Then I'm going to go back and touch up a few places where it needs it in the corners or some little trim areas, whatever, and do some coat there. I already put the tape in there. So I'm ready. Then I can start sanding. Then I can start painting, and it's awesome. Now, I found out today, apparently after the fact, thanks, guys, that there's actually ways that you can do that in a way more efficient way by like a machine. What they call it, a banjo or something, where you actually run the tape down and the mud all at the same time on your drywall, and it's super easy. I wish I would have known that before I did that, but at the same time, I kind of like, getting my hands a little dirty and feeling like I can't move for 2 days straight. Just throwing it out there. So it was a great weekend, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well with some of the bigger issues going on. The census reports are out, and the federal government coming out talking about what some of the results of the U.S. Census from last year and some states that may be losing or gaining seats. I want to talk about that here in just a little bit. But beforehand, outside of the working on the weekend, I hope you really did have a nice weekend. It was beautiful, at least in the Wichita area, wherever you may be. Hopefully summertime is finally starting to peek its ugly head out there. I am not going to enjoy the hot weather because I really like the cold now that I've been doing the cold showers and the cold exposure. In the mornings when I take the shower, I usually like to open the window and feel the nice cool breeze coming in. And I did that this morning, and it was a nice hot breeze coming in. And I said, uh-oh, this is going to be a fun, long weekend for us and a fun, long summer. So I'm trying to prepare myself. Apparently, some things that happened over the weekend were things I was not aware of that were happening. I was too busy, like being productive and starting a business and, doing things at home and doing the remodel stuff. Oscar ratings apparently crashed to an all-time low. For the first time, and the media is losing their minds, for the first time ever, the Oscars had a viewership under 10 million individuals. I know. And they don't know what to think about this. Why are so many people tuning out of the Oscars? Now, I was not even aware it was on, but even if I did know it was on, I would not have cared in any way, shape, or form at all. Last night's 93rd Academy Awards saw Netflix walk away with the most hardware overall. But the Disney empire took away some big prizes, yada, yada, yada. No Man's Land, Soul. Soul was a pretty decent movie from Disney. I kind of enjoyed that one. But the all-time low in record, in fact, it dropped about 58% in terms of audience from what the previous low of 2020 Oscars shared back on February 9th of last year. In terms of the key demo, the 2021 Oscars is down a crushing 64.2% in the earlier ratings from the 2020 Oscars. So in other words, it's been dropping dramatically over the years. Why do you think that is? I could throw a few guesses out there. Maybe it's because, number one, we're tired of Hollywood elites trying to tell us how to live our lives. Number two, we're tired of hearing about politics when it comes to celebrities who don't know anything other than regurgitating a script, which I'm not saying is an easy task. I used to do theater and acting, and it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, but it's also a lot of work, so I get it. But that does not make me holier than thou to tell you to not drive your vehicle because you're contributing to climate change and global warming. Just doesn't work. I've really turned off to a lot of the actors and celebrities who have said, blankety blank Donald Trump, and we're going to get rid of Donald Trump and blankety blankety blank because we don't like Donald Trump. And that's pretty much turned a lot of people off, which is why, oh, by the way, baseball ratings are down, which is why basketball ratings are down, which is why football ratings are down. Andy, that's not the case. It's because of COVID. Yeah, okay. Okay, good luck with that. Trying to tell me that because of COVID and people sitting at home wanting something to do, why the ratings for TV are down for all the sports last year because of COVID, sitting at home wanting something to do and watch. And oh, by the way, you can't even congregate together last year to watch sports like football because of COVID, so you couldn't get together in large mass quantities. So everybody at home that was watching on their own individual TVs instead of at the bar or club in a big group with one TV, that didn't contribute to the low ratings of the sports things last year with basketball and with football. Baseball, there wasn't really a season last year, but people are already upset with the decisions that the MLB made out of the Georgia issue with the election laws down there. So try and tell me again how COVID has influenced the low ratings of sporting events all over the nation. Yeah, doesn't really work that way, but you could try. You could try. And apparently that had something to do with the Oscars as well, or the Academy Awards, because they were down 64% compared to last year. People are done. Now, this should be a reminder for you that you have the power, that when you choose not to sponsor or listen or buy a product, when you choose not to listen to certain programs, when you choose not to watch at certain events or programs, that you do have that power. They try to ignore it. They try to put the blinders on. They try to dismiss it and say, no, that doesn't really have an effect. No, it doesn't really do anything. But when you decide, no, I'm not going to buy that product, or no, I'm not going to support that event in whatever it may be, or support that company, it really does have an impact. And they're still feeling the rift of the Donald Trump era, which Donald Trump is back in the news, kind of. I have to admit, he's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, even when he's not in office, because I'm on the list for his press releases from his the 45th office presidency or whatever, and it's kind of entertaining. So I want to read those here in a little bit too, because I got one today that literally made me laugh out loud. But you do have the power. I just want to remind you of that, because while you hear about the ratings were at an all-time low and the celebrities losing their mind, oh my gosh, no one watched us receiving my award. Whatever will I do? Just remember you did that because you just didn't care, or you didn't even know about it, like myself. In fact, you want to know what I was watching over the weekend, and you will get a kick out of this. After my hard day working on the house and doing the remodel stuff and working on the Hooser Media Network studios and all that, and I'm sore, I can barely stand, I sit down, and we have some of the online TV stations, so I turn on Peacock. And I don't usually watch it a whole lot. Was it Peacock or was it... I think it was Peacock. I don't know, one of those online TV streaming services. And they have a channel dedicated solely to The Price is Right. Not just The Price is Right, but Bob Barker era of The Price is Right. Not just the Bob Barker era, but I'm talking 1970s, 1980s Bob Barker, The Price is Right. And let me tell you something. Anybody who was on The Price is Right in 1975 should smack themselves for the stupid furniture that they were getting. Just throwing that out there. I'd never seen anything like it. I turned it on, and Mrs. Voice of Reason's asleep beside me. She's, snoozing away. And I turned it on. I'm trying to, my mind's racing, trying to just relax and calm down and just enjoy and just relax my body a little bit after working. And lo and behold, what do I see? I see the legitimate shag carpet that's bright green in the studios of The Price is Right. Bob Barker's literally wearing the super tight suit with the flare pants at the end down at the feet that just flared out. Everybody's in the ridiculous 1970s garments, and they're giving away these ridiculous pieces of furniture that right now you would just scream and say, this is the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And they're giving it away on The Price is Right, and everybody's so excited. Let me tell you something. That was a sight to see. I did not grow up in the 70s, so it's kind of a new era thing for me, and I always said that I despised the 70s just with the politics and with the weirdness there, and the attire and the dress and everything was just god-awful. I can't stand it. I was born in the late 80s, so I guess I would have enjoyed the 80s if I was older at that time, but I would have gone from, if I live in a perfect time, I would have, started in the 40s, 50s, and then jumped to the 80s, because the 60s and 70s drove me nuts. Just looking at what happened there. I know some people are going to be very mad at that statement, and they probably lived through it, and they're like, that was awesome times, Andy. And it may have been, and that's cool. But at the same time, watching it with the Bob Barker area, The Price is Right, with the shag carpet and the flare pants, and then giving away these god-awful, armchairs and everything, I cringed. I cringed at just a little bit. Just like Biden's wannabe going back to the 1970s era tax plan that he's proposing as well, with 40% capital gains taxes on everybody. See that nice little transition there from 1970 era The Price is Right to 1970s tax plan of Joe Biden. Now, you got to remember, Joe Biden did start his political life as a U.S. Senator in 1976. So he was into that fad. He was into that era. He was into that kind of thing. That's kind of where he, I guess, wants to go back to and revert back to is the good old Jimmy Carter. I can't even say it. The good old Jimmy Carter era. Yeah, that one worked out swell for everybody, right? But President Joe Biden wanting to unveil his tax plan that includes massive capital gains taxes to the level of 43.4% tax rates for individuals. Andy, those are only for individuals making $1 million or more. According to Yahoo Finance, President Joe Biden proposed his almost doubling of the capital gains tax rate for the wealthy individuals to 39.6 to help pay for the social spending during the COVID-19 era and his upcoming infrastructure plan. For those earning $1 million or more, the new top rate, coupled with existing surtax on investment income, means the federal tax rates for wealthy investors could be as high as 43.4%. The new marginal 39.6 rate would be an increase of the current base rate of 20%. We're at 20%. He wants to more than double it to 43.6 on people making $1 million. Andy, they make $1 million. Who cares? We're going to care when they finally say enough's enough and they end up moving out of the country. We're going to care when they finally just stop making that much money or we don't see any more millionaires. Do you know how many millionaires in the country right now are self-made millionaires by, starting their own business? Trying to work really hard and, get a good education and become some type of expert in their field, and they make money. You know how many people are becoming millionaires just by gaming online, apparently, or becoming YouTube sensations, or I guess even OnlyFans, if that's the kind of thing that you're into, with women getting subscriptions for guys. I heard a story. There was a lady on there that makes $1 million a month just on OnlyFans. Ridiculous. But I guess that's what guys are into, so they're going to pay for it. Who really cares, right? But now, all of those, especially the celebrity types, the YouTube stars, the kids, the young generation, my generation that made it big on YouTube somehow and, get $1 million just on, royalties off of YouTube. They're the ones that are preaching all the, progressive stuff because they love the progressive mentality because that's the cool, hip, retro thing to do. They're going to be changing their tone a little bit when they start getting that surcharge tax of, that capital gains tax of 43%. They're going to be saying, what the heck's going on, man? You're taking almost half of my income. Half of it. Yeah, see how well that lasts. How long that lasts for some that are not going to be used to that when that starts hitting them. Lots to come up here on The Voice of Reason. It is a Monday. Let's start off your week appropriately right here on the show. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right you are. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio and TV plus the live stream and podcast on the website at HooserReason.com. We are coming up to the end of the month. I think the newsletter is going to be coming out on maybe Monday next week. I know the first is like on Friday or Saturday, but that's all right. We're still going to have the newsletter come out on Monday. That'll give you the weekend in case you miss it. To sign up for the newsletter, totally free. Just go to the website, HooserReason.com. No I in Hooser, Hooser, Reason.com. You can sign up. It'll pop up, say, do you want to become a Hoosier-holic? You say yes, type in your email address. Completely free. We don't spam you. We just send you a once-a-month email. talking about things that are happening. We have our monthly blog on there. We have some civic holidays for the upcoming month. We have some hoorah encouraging messages. We have some fun things, just what's going on with the show, with the network. It's all cool. So make sure to sign up at HooserReason.com. That'll come out on Monday, and we'll get you signed up for that newsletter to come out each and every week. Your Millennial General reporting in for the way we do each and every day here on the show, trying to get you back into the groove for the week. So the gift that keeps on giving, and we'll get back to the tax thing here in just a second, but I saw this and I had to read it on the air. I don't know if you signed up for this or not. The statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States, his PAC, I guess, Save America PAC, they come out with emails kind of like a press release as a president would or any public official does, from the office of, and they have some message on there as it's from SaveAmerica45.com. is the PAC that actually sends this out. And I'm on this email list, and I think everybody can get on it. I think because it's just a press statement for the general public, and you can subscribe or not subscribe. But one came out today, and it's very short, which makes it funny because usually it's a long press release, and it's, this whole statement and the whole describing the news and what's going on. It's not. It's literally like one sentence, sentence and a half, really, a long sentence. And it's from Donald Trump in his style that just kind of made me smile a little bit. Governor Doug Ducey of Arizona. Here's what it says by the statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States. Governor Doug Ducey of Arizona, one of the worst governors in America and the second worst Republican governor in America, is refusing to provide security for the American patriots who are hand counting the rigged 2020 Arizona election ballots. That's it. That's the press statement. Not, we're going to work to ensure the validity of this. We're going to continue to support them. We want to do whatever. No, that's the statement. Now, usually when public officials send a press release, it has their comments on it. It has their thoughts, what they're going to do to fix it, what they want to do, what they're encouraging people to do, something. Even like, donate here so we can help fight this. Nothing. It doesn't say any of it. It's just literally Governor Doug Ducey of Arizona, I got to do it in the Donald Trump voice, one of the worst governors in America and the second worst Republican governor in America, is refusing to provide security for the American patriots who are hand counting the rigged 2020 Arizona election ballots. That's all it says. And I had to smile because that's typical Donald Trump form. Even when he's not in office, he's still giving us relief. And it makes you smile a little bit because if I had to listen to these things all the time.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it.
I mean, we need some comic relief, and that's kind of comic relief in itself. But at the same time, I get depressed listening to those statements all the time because that's the leader of the free world right now. And if he can't keep a coherent sentence trying to talk to himself, how the hell is he going to lead the country? Which you can obviously see the results of that already within the first 3 months of his administration. So we need some comic relief. We need some little lightheartedness. And just a statement like that, Donald Trump, thank you. Thank you for those press releases that you send because, you know what, it made me aware of an issue that's going on, and I got a little relief out of it as well. So thank you for that because I needed that today on a Monday. I really did. When we come back, we got to take a bottom of the hour break. When we come back, I want to shift gears. I want to continue with the tax conversation. The rates that Joe Biden's proposing for this infrastructure plan, is it going to actually work for him? Also, he's trying to up the ante on the estate tax, which means more people that pass and hand off their assets or their land or their value or whatever to their children would be taxed again. And even more people would fall under that radar. So we'll talk about that. Plus the latest out of the U.S. Census of 2020. What did the results show? And how could the makeup of our government change based on the census results? All that coming up. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hoosier Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HoosierReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hoosier Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hoosier Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room.
Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
35. It's currently 80 degrees.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, you are. Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Monday, the greatest day of the entire week. That's the way we roll. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time here on the show. That's what we do every single day. I saw a headline during the break. I was scrolling through some of the news. And according to Breitbart, Liz Cheney won't rule out a 2024 White House bid. Yeah, good luck with that, Liz Cheney. Good luck with that. Although, I wouldn't be surprised if she actually went relatively far because, I mean, the Republican establishment loves these moderate hacks that actually try to jump in there, which is how we got John McCain, which is how we got Mitt Romney. See how well that worked out for those guys. My fringe. Remember that? Remember that when he was touring around? My fringe run a straight talk express. Yeah. That one didn't work out too well. But, I mean, you can't campaign with someone like that, with a John McCain, and think that you're going to be the difference when you're coming off a George Bush era. You're the same. Actually, you're more moderate than George Bush. I would take George Bush over John McCain any day again. I'm not a big fan of George W. Bush either, but at the same time, I would take that over a John McCain. But you tried to play off as the same while Barack Obama was the new shiny cool thing, the hip new, hope and change thing that everybody just loved and people fell in love with it. So, yeah, but the whole campaign, I'm telling you, we need to start cleaning up the Republican Party from within to where that way we don't have conservatives, libertarians, and everybody from the outside saying, oh, yeah, I'm just not going along with that establishment thing. We have to change that. And we have an opportunity to do so. We can do it. It starts at the local levels with the grassroots campaigning. It starts at the local levels, at the statewide level with proper legislature. I mean, we have 3/4 of the states that have a majority of Republicans in their state legislatures. We have almost 3/4, I believe, of governorships across the nation that are Republican-led, but yet we still have all these policies that aren't the greatest policies out there. Now, the census could potentially change that, at least at the federal level, giving certain states with more power, or at least with more change in population, to actually have a larger say, and maybe we could have a little more representation in red districts. That might be a good thing, as according to Fox News, California and New York may be losing House seats based on the results of the census. And that's the latest today in What's Trending.
What's trending today?
What's trending today, according to Fox News, the U.S. Census Bureau today announced the results of the 2020 population count, which will determine the number of seats in the House of Representatives based on population size. As you know, that's how we do the House of Representatives, and potentially shift the power that some states have in the federal government. Several states, according to the estimated numbers from the political consulting firm of Election Data Services, are on the bubble to potentially gain or lose seats. Included in those is the states of Election Data Services. The analysis published in December also predicted that Arizona, Colorado, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon may gain House seats, where certain states, including, let's see here, among the biggest predicting winners is Florida and Texas, that could be gaining seats, as opposed to states that are losing seats potentially, including California and New York. Alabama, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and West Virginia are also ones that could lose a seat or two based on the census. Now, the way this works is you fill it out and you say how many family members you have in the household, how much money you make, and you just pretty much give your entire life summary to the federal government. You say, here you go, and then they look at it and count it, and then they look at the average median income, and they look at the population, and population based on region, and based on districts, and based on, and it just goes down, and they calculate all these things. It's good. At the same time, I'm still, I know they already have it, but you're just kind of willy-nilly giving them all your information as a citizen, which I'm a little hesitant about. So I openly admit I did not fill out my census this last year. And is it a concern for me? I don't know. I'll probably fill one out next time. We probably needed one here in the state of Kansas to boost up our numbers here in the state a little bit. Although at the same time, the state Democrat Party was really pushing it really hard because they use it for their funding of public education systems and to see how many illegal aliens are in the area. So I'm a little hesitant on that front. But from the numbers, apparently people down in Florida and Texas did a very good job to where they could be gaining some seats based on population. Now, that's either from people filling it out or not filling it out, but it probably also has to do with people leaving California and New York and moving to Florida and Texas. Andy, why would they do something like that? Probably because of the high tax rates and the high regulation and the stupid decisions from Democrats. Texas opened things up after COVID pretty quickly. New York still essentially locked down. California, they fine you in your backyard for having smell odors and air pollution from barbecuing in your backyard. Florida, you can pretty much, walk to a tiki house and, get really have fun with adult beverages and then sway yourself onto a beach. I'm weighing the pros and cons here on what each state has to offer. And nothing against California, because we have a lot of listeners out there, and I really love California. It is one of the most beautiful places I've been the 2 times that I've been there in a very short period of time. But I didn't get to experience a whole lot outside of the city where I'm like, wow, this is really pretty, but there are a lot of weird people here, man. And there are certain places that I just refuse to go. But I'm sure that has something to do with it, with people moving out of New York and moving out of California, which, by the way, at the same time, are the 2 places where we have the 2 biggest social experiments on tax rates. Because California feels like they need to fund every social program out there with high taxes, and they're trying to nickel and dime you to pay for a lot of that. That includes writing you fines for the smell vapors coming out of your backyard when you try to barbecue some type of food. And New York is now surpassing that with their own social experiment for the high taxes that they're doing in their state, and that's why people are leaving. Elon Musk, prime example. Left the state of California, moved down to Texas. We're tired of the high taxes, we're tired of the regulations, and we're not going to shut down because of COVID because that's really dumb. So guess what? We're moving our entire headquarters down to Texas. And that's revenue that California lost. Now, that's as we talk about the national tax rate, with Joe Biden wanting to promote this $3 trillion economic stimulus recovery plan or infrastructure plan or whatever he wants to call it. Now that he wants a capital gains tax like 44% for all these high income earners in America, that's essentially what we're going to see. They're just not going to move states, but they're going to move nations. Because let's look at the states of California. Let's look at the state of New York right now with the business that has left, with the high income individuals that have left and said we're not doing it any longer. What has that done to these states? They're bankrupt. And what they do is they put the pressure on the middle class because that's the only people that's left that can't afford to leave because they need their job. And right now they can't leave and quit their job because they kind of need the job to survive. So they're kind of stuck between the rock and the hard place. We've put the pressure on the middle class because of the high taxes that you want to impose on them. And when everybody else, the evil rich people that are paying all of the taxes, which yes, they do. Don't try and lie to me that they don't. Andy, rich people don't pay taxes. That's why the top 5% of all income earners pay like 30% of all the income tax in the nation. I'm sorry, that was 1%. 1% of the income earners in the nation pay 20% of all the federal income tax. The top 20% of all federal income earners pay 80% of all the federal income tax in the nation. Just throwing those numbers out there for you. I know it's hard to digest on a Monday, but stick with me for a second because they already pay all of the taxes. So when you put more pressure on them because they don't, quote unquote, pay their fair share, they leave. And when you still need that revenue to come in, what do? You go to the next best source. This is a larger quantity of people that make less money, but still a decent amount of income for you to enjoy as a government bureaucrat and as a corrupt politician. So now as we look at the census, what does that mean? With New York and California losing seats, guess what? Those are at least two seats that Democrats are not going to be having any longer based on population. You know that's not happening in the rural communities. The rural community, well, maybe a little bit in California. Maybe the farmers that are just like, I'm done with this, and they're out. So maybe we are losing some red seats. Hopefully not. Hopefully there are blue seats out of California, depending on what districts of California actually saw a decrease in population. We saw an increase in Texas and Florida. Overwhelmingly would be Republican. Does that mean that maybe it's not the urban areas of the cities where we're getting more Democrat seats? Maybe. But hopefully it's in the rural communities where, like, deuces, I am out of the city. I'm going into the rural community. I'm going into the farmland. I'm going into small town America, and I'm going to enjoy that because I'm tired of your ridiculous regulations. And if that's the case, guess what? We just won a couple new seats in Florida and in Texas. Now, with some of the seats that may be gaining as well, Arizona, Colorado, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon, based on the results of this census. Arizona, relatively red. Colorado, not so much. Could be losing that one. Montana, probably gaining some red seats. North Carolina, probably gaining red. Oregon, probably gaining some red. Overall, this could be a good thing. So, in hindsight, the beauty of our system that we have actually helps us. That way, the population is not all centralized into one area, in the one mindset, the one think tank that the Democrats love of we all need to think the same way, and if you don't, then you're probably the most horrible person on the face of the earth. If you don't get your vaccine, then you are a menace to society. If you don't pay your taxes and the high tax rates and you don't support the high tax rates, you are a burden to this society, is their mindset. It starts to balance itself out, which is why we need to embrace the Electoral College based on population of certain areas. I also have been advocating for implementing the Electoral College at the statewide levels as well, because like states of Kansas, we have 105 counties in the state of Kansas. Guess how many counties the Democrat governor won in the last election? That would be 7. She won 7 counties out of 105 counties, and she won the governorship based on popular vote. That's why we need electoral colleges at the statewide levels for statewide races in all states when it comes to governors or maybe attorney generals or secretary of state or U.S. senators. Maybe we have an electoral college for those as well to keep it based on region and be able to have at least a little bit louder voice, so the farmer out in the middle of nowhere has a little bit louder voice than the populated city, or at least an even voice. I don't want one to be above the other, just an even voice. But to them, that is absolute blasphemy. How could you do such a thing? States that may be losing include Alabama, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and West Virginia. Predominantly outside of the Alabama one, all of them blue states: Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, West Virginia. Mostly all blue states or swing states that could be losing seats, and that could be a good thing for some Republicans. So the system slowly but surely balancing itself out. Maybe if we can hold off for the next year until the midterm elections, maybe we can put a stop to some of the shenanigans, get rid of Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, and get some Republican control to stop the Biden agenda again.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites: YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. Last segment here goes by way too fast. And it's been a while since we've done a show without a guest on the program, so it's kind of nice to talk about some things and not in a semi-rushed manner as much. I don't know whether you like the guest every single day or whether you like us kind of chit in the chat. You and I, just kind of a personal, intimate conversation. Buy you a drink. We chat a little bit. And then we argue about politics. Ha-ha! See? I would be terrible on the dating scene nowadays. Can I just throw that out there? Mrs. Voice of Reason is kind of awesome because she tolerates my craziness when it comes to politics and my frustration with constant political issues, constantly looking up issues. And the time that I didn't have a radio show, she was just like, Andy, you need to calm down, man. You just need to realize, because I would be constantly just venting and just bleh out to her all the time, and she just can't deal with it, and she doesn't need to deal with that. So now you have me, and I get to do that for you now. So thank you and for allowing me that opportunity to regurgitate all of these ridiculous things that are going through the world and me frustrated. It's beyond belief. But that's what we do as the Millennial General, that we report for duty each and every day. All right, I think it's 70s Day today, which is very strange, and I did not plan on it being 70s Day today. We started off with 1970s The Price is Right with Bob Barker, which looked hilarious in the flare pants and the brown suit and the really thick, ridiculously large shag green carpet on the set of The Price is Right that I got to watch over the weekend, which was extremely entertaining. Then we have the 1970s era tax plan that Joe Biden's coming out with. Let's go back to the Jimmy Carter era, shall we? We like really high tax rates, and things are going swell. Which is why Ronald Reagan got in afterwards, because he screwed everything up, and nobody had any money, and crime was going up, and poverty was going up, and just everything was ridiculous in the 1970s under Jimmy Carter, because he literally had no idea what he was doing. It makes sense now why Joe Biden's trying to go back to that plan. Then I see this story out of Axios.com, and the latest in what's trending.
What's trending today?
All right, the top story of the day today, I guess, is the fact that there is a company that makes psychedelic drugs, and they're about ready to go public on the stock market tomorrow. Now, I've told you in my little extent with the day trading, or not day trading, but just stocks and investment with Doggy Coin and like the $150 that I've thrown on there and kind of letting that one ride. Would you throw money into MindMed as they go public tomorrow, as they are the second psychedelic company and the drug developer to go public in the U.S., with a third one right around the corner as well? Wall Street eagerly volunteering for high-risk trips tempered by a massive addressable market for mental health treatments, as the companies are making psychedelic drugs for research on mental health treatments, which isn't... Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against this. I'm against it like going, for the general public for psychedelics. We don't need people running around the middle of the street chasing after a dragon or a squirrel or something, or, running and screaming. We don't need that. However, I do see the absolute benefit for psychedelics in many aspects for treatment of some sort, to see if there's any medical benefits to them, which I'm sure there are. Also for religious context, as I know a lot of people do, like ayahuasca down in Central America. They took shrooms in, Europe for a long time as religious leaders to be able to speak to the gods, or to have some type of vision or some type of message sent to them by higher things or whatever. I understand the value of that, and that is something that definitely intrigues me, I guess. Not to necessarily do, but just learn more about it on a religious context of trying to rewire the brain to see different things for certain messages for religious purpose or for mental health treatment. So I can see the reason for that, not for going all complete, just legalize it for recreational use, because that would be a little silly. I'm not talking about marijuana here. I don't want to get into the marijuana debate like so many do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking strictly like ridiculous psychedelic drugs, because obviously people have used them for a very long time. The Native Americans used peyote. The Europeans back in the Middle Ages used mushrooms. Down in, as we mentioned, Central America, they used ayahuasca. There's always been some type of thing for religious purposes and religious ceremonies that, are kind of interesting to see. But it was the religious leaders that would do that because they had a higher connection with the spiritual forms. But if you have schizophrenia, or if you have depression, or if you have something like that, there's been a little bit of studies that have shown that actually works with some type of psychedelic or mushrooms or something like that to be able to help with mental health issues as well, PTSD or depression or something like that. Is there something to it? I don't know. But I find that quite intriguing that now 2 psychedelic drug companies, a third one on the way, that are going public on the stock market for trading as they produce these psychedelic drugs for certain purposes. The world's changing, and it's a very interesting world to be in, to observe and see how everybody responds one way or the other as more of these things come out. Does it for us today. Podcast going up in a little bit. Kind of a fun show. Covered a lot of ground, and we'll do it again tomorrow. We do have guests lined up for the rest of the week, so make sure to stay tuned in, because you're not going to miss a single bit of what we talk about here on this show. Why? Because we bring you the common sense news that sometimes nobody else likes to talk about. Until then, be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Everybody have a wonderful Monday. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.